Hey, what's up everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got the unboxing for you of the Google Nexus 6 made by Motorola. So I've been very excited to get my hands on this device, actually extremely excited, as this time instead of going towards the midline or budget price point, Google has gone for the high-end consumer, as it is also priced in at a flagship price. It comes in at $649 for the 32GB model and $749 for the 64GB model. I was personally not the biggest fan of the Nexus 5, and I know a lot of people out there have that as their favorite smartphone due to the software, but for some reason it just wasn't my thing. But on the Nexus 6, I'm a huge fan of the design, and as you can see I have the blue and the white model in front of me. Perhaps the biggest change other than the price point is its form factor. This device is absolutely massive, hence its name the Nexus 6. It has a display that is 5.96 inches with a resolution of 2560 by 1440. Even at this size, this gives you a whopping PPI of 493. It has also got a 3220 mAh battery with turbocharger, which is also included in there, with a 13 megapixel rear facing camera, which, as you know, on the past Nexuses, the camera just wasn't the greatest, and you've got a 2 megapixel front facing camera, and of course it is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 805 processor clocked in at 2.7 GHz and 3 gigs of RAM. And since it is a pure Nexus device, it does run the latest and greatest Android 5 Lollipop. And from watching the videos on it, as well as trying out the Android L beta on the Nexus 5, I have to say I'm a pretty big fan of the material design as a whole. The visual appeal of an operating system is always very important. So the first thing we see when we take out the box is the instruction manual, as well as the SIM eject tool that is also located inside that. Next up, you have your USB to micro USB cable, so that is pretty standard, but you do also have a pretty big brick here, and that is the turbocharger, and that is supposed to give you an insane amount of charge in a small period of time. So that is pretty much it for the box. Let's just set that aside and take a look at the Nexus itself. So in this video, I will be giving you a small walkthrough and the setup process of the Nexus 6. But before I do that, I want to give you a quick color comparison between the blue and the white Nexus 6. Personally, I've been a bigger fan of white. As you can see, most of the devices I purchased are white, but the blue doesn't look as bad at all, and I have to say the blue isn't as blue as you would expect once you see it in person. And the front of both devices are black, so let's just peel off the plastic here and power on the device for the very first time. So as always, the first thing they're going to ask you is the language, and I have to say I like the look of the interface from Google. As always, the Google Now kind of interface and color scheme always goes together very well. So let's just quickly skip through this so I can show you some of Android 5.0 Lollipop and just the initial use of it. As always, I do tons of videos on these devices as well as the full review, so I will go more in depth in that, but I just want to give you a quick setup and an overview of the Android L and kind of the experience you will find on the latest Nexus device. Android Lollipop looks great on this large display, and with the material design, as you can see, the notifications and everything are laid out a little bit different, and Google has tried to integrate that across as many things as they could have. The flat look looks great, and I hope that Android 5.0 is going to be somewhat like iOS 7, where the apps eventually will all also have a kind of color scheme and design that would kind of complement the interface or the software of the native Android. But from turning on the device for the first time, you can get a quick taste of the Lollipop. So now just for a first look of the hardware, and you can see that the device is relatively large. At first I knew it was going to be pretty large, and I know a lot of people talked about that, but once you see it show up on your doorstep and hold it in your hand for the first time, you will really realize how big this device is. It is literally identical to the size of the iPhone 6 Plus or the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. It is a phablet. And you can see that the design of the Nexus 6 is pretty much a larger Moto X without the kind of dimple that has a ring around it on the Moto X. I personally like it, and although the device isn't thinnest on the market, it is very ergonomically sound and feels great in the hand. And the nice Nexus logo that is integrated to the back, I have to say looks pretty cool as well. Like I mentioned, the display is a QHD AMOLED display with a resolution of 2560 by 1440 at a 493 ppi. And I know a lot of people have kind of talked about the display and the issues they have noticed so far, and I have to say I haven't been as impressed as I thought I would be with the display on the Nexus 6 compared to a phone like the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. But I really hope that a software update will fix some of the color saturation and the white issues that we sort of saw on the display initially. But aside from that, this has just been an unboxing and first look of the Google Nexus 6 made by Motorola, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button and let me know what videos you would like to see down in the comment section below, as there will be many that I will try to squeeze in this very busy school season. But I'll see you all in the next video.